I'd like to start to give everybody here a warm and personal welcome and a thank you. When I look out in this audience, what I see is really the extended family of United Way. What success that we enjoy at United Way is due to the support and the commitment of you and of the organizations that you represent, and we appreciate it. Thank you very much. Joining me today at this luncheon, I'm not going to name all of them, but I'm going to ask them to stand up, are all the members of the board of United Way. So members of the board of United Way, would you stand up and be recognized? Thank you. These are very hardworking people. It's a hardworking board. As part of our strategic plan, which Pam Smith will talk about in a few minutes, we reviewed and updated our mission statement. And just to remind you, I thought I would start off by reading it. United Way of Washtenaw County connects people, organizations, and resources together to create a thriving community for everyone. Let me focus on the first half. United Way of Washtenaw County connects people, organizations, and resources. We recognize at United Way that the most efficient and effective way to address community issues requires partnering with other experts, with agencies, with members of the community, with recipients of services to identify problems, determine strategies that work, and then continue to evaluate our progress in moving the needle in every one of the 5 strategic areas we work in. That is a major part of the reason we embarked on the path that resulted in coordinated funding. I'd like to recognize our coordinated funding partners and ask them to stand as I read their name. Representing the City of Ann Arbor, the Urban County Group, and the Washtenaw County Government is Verna McDaniel. I hope she'll stand. I know she's here. From the Ann Arbor Area Community Foundation, Neil Hajra and Cheryl Elliott. And leading the effort from United Way is Debbie Jackson, our Director of Community Investment, Todd Clark, Chair of the Community Investment Committee, and Steve Day, member of that committee. Would you all stand? That coordinated funding collaboration, that partnership is officially in its 4th year and is a model for what other counties are following suit. In 2013, just last year, the coordinated funding underwent a formal evaluation by a third party. Overall, the findings were positive. Here are 2 examples of aspects identified as working well. 1, grantees and funders both report that the process resulted in improved relationships and improved funder understanding of the problems of agencies and of the community. Second, there's evidence of increased grantee capacity and improved funder strategy with no evidence of negative impact on the community. Based on the evaluation, we've continued to improve the process, continue to improve our working together. United Way remains committed to this partnership and recognize that its success requires dedication and commitment of all partners. Please join me in applauding all of their hard work. United Way recognizes that in order to increase our effectiveness, we need to continue to expand our connections to the community. You may have noticed on the last page of our annual report a picture of a well-known icon of Ann Arbor. I'd like to ask Josh Gibson and Paulina Bromberg to stand, if they would. They're here. Josh, you're here? Great. Josh and Paulina, continue standing here. Josh and Paulina are active members of Student United Way at the University of Michigan. This group gives back by advocating for United Way and by being active volunteers in the community. And while we're recognizing our more youthful United Way ambassadors, I'd also like to recognize members of our Young Leaders Society, Kim Reinecker, Michelle Lovelace, Tony Dallas, Tina Heusel, Megan Crosby, Jeff Barker, Larry Joseph, Nicole Torbert, and Sarah Simon from our Young Leaders Society, and ask them to stand too. Thank you. This latter group of young leaders conducted recently a smile drive, collecting more than 3,100 toothbrushes to be distributed to local clinics and youth centers. Finally, I want to say a word about our partnership with Optimize, the Social Innovation Challenge at U of M, which brought literacy training to the families of Hamilton Crossing, and this summer will begin youth mentoring there. With Jeff Sorensen, founder of Optimize, Bill Brinkerhoff from the University of Michigan, and Mark Quan Jackson from Hamilton Crossing, please stand. I'd like to share with you a brief video that explains more of the concept and purpose of Optimize.
What is entrepreneurship? It's a very kind of ill-defined, loose, liberatory kind of space. And yet, when we look at students who are engaged in those programs, what we saw was what we want to see in students. So they identify big problems, they think about interesting kinds of solutions. It's not a coincidence that they are very compelling students who are doing really compelling work.
A student with my interests, I wasn't looking for entrepreneurship. What I was searching at was how can I make an impact in this issue. We don't want to just create the entrepreneurship initiative for LSA students. We think that there's a different motivation out there, which is just a desire to make an impact on issues.
The problems that exist in the world now are at a scale that we can't only have a small proportion of people really thinking about them and aiming to solve them. We need like a movement of people.
I saw a potential in a lot of students and in classes that I was in. Students would actually come up with some really interesting solutions. Then the class would end and no one would actually try any of those solutions. So we decided to create Optimize as a platform for students to start taking action.
If I told you that I have a system that could eliminate fossil fuels for the entire world, you would think I'm crazy. But that's what I'm doing right now.
Students who have really good mentorship programs, 20% more likely to go to college and graduate.
We did over 10,000 pounds of produce, all right in the north end of Detroit.
We sometimes say we want to end poverty in our community. And that is a big goal, but without those big goals, you can't have any impact.
What makes Optimize so strong is that entrepreneurship is an important mindset you can use to explore the different pathways you can reach your mission.
We wanted to open up the opportunity to this kind of skill set and remove kind of those mental barriers that some people might have of thinking, oh, I'm not an entrepreneur.
They're already making a commitment to do things right. And I think doing things right means being fully engaged with your life 24/7, all the time. The wakefulness that you bring, the attentiveness that you bring, if you could live your life that way all the time, your life would be amazing. And so what Optimize is trying to do is to pull students into that kind of space.
We can talk a lot, but you actually have to do something. And that's what Optimize helped us do. Something that seemed impossible are actually possible if you make those action steps.
You come into this challenge with so many goals and ideas, but what really makes you unique from any other dreamer on campus is being able to actually put that into action.
Making like something that you had like in your head like 2 years ago a reality is like such a satisfying idea.
That's the greatest feeling, being a student, and at the same time you have this ability and this power to actually do something with your lives.
Optimize is all about pushing yourself further.
Education is not just a simple input-output kind of thing.
There's people saying that we haven't gone the real road, but like, why can't we go now? Why can't we try it now?
Thank you to Student United Way, Optimize Group, and the Young Leaders Society for their efforts on the behalf of United Way and of the community. They are our future, and we're in good hands. There's so many more examples of connecting people, organizations, and resources, such as distributing Christmas trees and toys donated by our partner Target, organizing the annual National Day of Action, which deploys volunteers to local nonprofits for a day of giving back. And of course, the over 200 companies that invite us in to educate and inform their employees about how they can help. Volunteering, but also including donations. And we know a lot of them are represented here today, so thank you. These connections are critical to our success and our effectiveness, but I'm keenly aware of the time and the fact that I still have to address the second half of our mission statement to create a thriving community for everyone. Everyone. There are many examples of how United Way does this, certainly more than I can address right now, but let me give you 3 special stories. William Cheatham and Michael Randall, please stand. I know they're here. Okay, thank you. William and Michael are members of AmeriCorps, sponsored by United Way of Washington County Opportunity Grant. Every day, they're out there trying to alleviate poverty in our community. If I can just get to the next page here, gentlemen, I can tell your story here. All right. Yes. Come on. Okay. Earlier this year, William was working with an elderly woman whose furnace was broken. She had no money to fix it, and I know that all of us remember this was a pretty cold winter. All she had was a space heater, and that was used primarily to keep her cat warm. It was obvious to William that she was in trouble and desperately needed help, so he got to work immediately, filling out applications at the right agencies for furnace repair, housing rehabilitation, and weatherization assistance. It took a couple of weeks, but it finally happened. And one day, she stopped into the office to thank William for his help, which resulted in a new furnace and weatherization of her home. Please join me in recognizing both William and Daniel for the difference they're making in Washtenaw County. Thank you, guys. Okay. During this first quarter of this year, United Way of Washtenaw County hosted a VITA tax clinic in our community room. I'd like to recognize Bob Mull. Bob, you're here today, I think. I hope you stand up. Thank you. Mull has been a key volunteer for our tax clinic, and this year our tax clinic completed 154 total returns, with an average return of $1,435, an average back to the person. The average adjusted gross income of their clients at the tax clinic was $14,000. Every person they helped was appreciative, and each had a story like this one. One elderly gentleman had been homeless and recently moved to Ann Arbor. He'd been a produce manager at Farmer Jack, and he planned to retire from there. Unfortunately, that company closed in 2006. From 2006 to 2013, he was largely unemployed and homeless. He learned about services that were available at a soup kitchen and warming center, and through the community support and treatment services of Michigan Ability Partners, he's able to rebuild his life and now is in an apartment. He's currently 62, grateful for the support that he's received, and please join me in recognizing Bob Mull for the partnership with us to provide this free service that truly benefits those most in need. Thank you, Bob. Finally, I would like to ask the committee chairperson, Sally Schmall, and the members of the Power of the Purse to stand to be recognized. They're in the back. Thank you. Let me tell you about what they do. The Power of the Purse Committee, this group of very smart and savvy women, are very passionate about helping women in our community who are struggling. Many women have been helped by the Power of the Purse grants, and each has a story, but I have this one to share with you today. Also, in recognizing a partner agency that also was part of this story, and that's the Executive Director of Child Care Network, Kamara Morgan, and Lori Bush, if they would stand as well and be recognized as part of the story. Thank you. This story is about a young woman and her 2 children, survivors of domestic violence, and trying to make ends meet on the money she earned working at Walmart. She and her 2 daughters were with a friend for over a year while she was waiting for a space to open up at one of the local shelters. Because of support from the Power of the Purse, from the Power of the Purse grant, this family is now safe, secure, and stable, living in transitional housing through another United Way partner, SOS Community Services. Thank you, folks, for this story. United Way is working to create a thriving community for everyone, every day. Through our Varsity Letter program, which recognizes high school students for volunteering, through our 211 call center that operates 24/7 every day of the year, and coming soon, through our new Volunteer Connection program, which will facilitate and coordinating volunteering across all of Washtenaw County. This is your United Way. It works because of your efforts. It works because of your commitment and support. And I'm pleased to present this report to you on United Way. Thank you very much for being here today.